Hello everybody, welcome to the first in a series of tutorials for EVE Online. So, to start off with, I'm going to talk about this over here. This is your Neocom, and all sorts of information, pretty much everything you really need to know, you're going to find in here. Doesn't have to do with things for navigation or combat, that is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing is your character sheet. So let's open that up here. Now, this is going to have all sorts of information about your character, your skills, all that kind of thing. So to start off with, we're gonna go ahead and open up the training queue right here. It opens up another window, which I've currently added onto it, and this will have all of the skills and everything that you can train. Now you can review the skills you've already trained right here in this window. And you can go under here, you can see, all your, what level you have everything to, which ones you can train, which ones you fully trained, all that kind of stuff. So, in order to add new skills to train, go over here under your training queue. You pick from this list which skill it is that you want to train, and use drag and drop. So, for example, if I wanted to train up a Mara drone specialization, just take this, drag it over here, drop it, see right there, and then just hit apply down here at the bottom to finalize it. In this case, I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to remove it by, again, drag and drop. Or you can press remove down here, or add down here, instead of dragging and dropping. Whichever one suits you better. So, one of the nice things about EVE Online skill training is that instead of grinding like you have to do in a lot of other MMOs, these ones just level up after a certain amount of time. For example, you can see here, training at Minmatar Frigate to level 3, it would take me 45 minutes. After that, whether I'm logged in or not, that skill's going to level up and I'll be able to use Minmatar Frigates more effectively. So, that is one of the nice things that I kind of want to touch on and kind of emphasize here, is that your skills will train whether you are logged in or not. So you don't have to worry about, being logged in long enough for your skills to level up. You can be at school, at work, doing whatever else, and your character will still be advancing, provided your account's still running. Now, each of these skills that you're going to train up, if you go over here into the information, if you look under the attributes tab, you'll see you have different attributes about the skill. As you can see here, the primary attribute is perception, the secondary attribute is willpower. Now these tie in to another area on the character sheet that I'll touch on in just a moment. But for now, know that by having higher attributes, this will train faster. So let's go back over the character sheet real quick here, and go down to attributes. We can see how many points we have in each of these attributes. Now when you first start, you're going to have, I believe it's 2 neural remaps available. You click here to use it, and basically what it does is it allows you to redistribute points between these 5 attributes. And by redistributing them, you can affect how quickly different skills will train. Now, as you're training these skills, you're going to want to focus on one thing in particular. So for example, if you think you're going to be a combat pilot in EVE, you want to focus on things combat related, like flying ships and using guns or missiles. If you want to do something that's more industry based, you're going to train up skills to use haulers or mining ships, that kind of thing. One of the things that is important is that you pick a particular career path or a particular line you want to go down, and try to stick with training skills of that type. There's just years and years of training that you can do if you're trying to get all of the skills and I don't think that anybody has done it. I imagine there must be somebody, but to my knowledge. And that about covers skills for now. We'll touch on some more of that later, how to increase your attributes and affect that kind of thing, but for now we're going to move on down to certificates. This is the second tab in your character sheet, and certificates basically act as a method of kind of guiding the way that you level up. Here you'll see different ones that you've already claimed in different places. If you go over here, you can choose who can see them. And over here in settings, just some different things for how you view them. But to actually see the bulk of this, we're going to go over here to Open Certification. Well, I said that weird. Open Certification Planner. That brings up this window here. Now, this will tell you what different skills you're going to want in order to claim different certificates. Basically, what these do are you'll have a little description over here, and kind of an overview of what you're going for here. So, for example, say you want to be able to fit ships better. Well, if you come in here to, the core skills, and say you want to look at, basic fitting. Go over here to core fitting, and these skills will help you with fitting your ships. And that is something that, again, I'm going to touch on a little bit here. Basically, for now, all you need to know is that certificates don't really do much aside from kind of give you some suggestions on different things to train. You can also ask other players for help on different ideas in that, or just read the description of what different skills do and choose for yourself. So, next down here on our list on the character sheet, we have decorations. Basically, not many people use these at all. The little things that you can make with them, alliances or corporations, and hand them out and such like that, they're not really of any real significance. It's kind of bragging rights kinds of things. So now we're back down here to attributes again. And attributes and the next one, augmentations, really go hand in hand. So again, we have 5 attributes of intelligence, perception, charisma, willpower, and memory. Now, these can be increased with augmentations. And I just have some really kind of cheap, crappy ones right now, to be honest. But what these augmentations will do is they will raise your attributes by a set number, 1 through 5, with ones that will increase by 1 being fairly cheap, and the ones that increase by 5 being much more on the expensive end, far beyond where you probably have at this point. If we open up the information, we can see that this one in particular is Ocular Filter Basic, increases that perception by 3 points, which means that any skills that require perception to level up will train just a little bit faster. As for this one, actually, we'll come back to that in a little bit. So next on the list we have junk clones. Now this is certainly nothing that you're going to be using at this point. It's generally used a lot more by nullsec or lowsec PvPers. It's something that you generally are going to have either your own station or high standings with somebody for. It's, again, a much more advanced thing, so we'll touch on that more in depth later. Now this here is your bio. This is what everybody reads when they pull up information on your character. So you can put in something about yourself, insert your witty or funny statement, do whatever. Next down we have employment history. Now this just tracks all the different corporations that you've worked for in the past, when you did, all that kind of thing. It's useful in finding out where people have been before. when you're trying to decide if you want to trust them with them in your corporation, all sorts of different things. It's kind of an interesting little tidbit there. Now next up are standings. Standings are important in a lot of ways within EVE. This will influence a lot of what you can and can't do in various stations, various people, all that kind of thing throughout the universe. Now, one of the big things that standings affects will be when you run missions, which are basically quests of EVE. When you run missions, your standings will increase with whoever it is that you're running missions for. Conversely, they will decrease for whoever that faction is aligned against. And again, until we get a little bit deeper in, there's not too much more to say right here, because a lot of it won't make much sense. Moving down the list, we have security status. Now, this is again another important factor. It has to do with you basically just doing different illegal activities within the game. Nothing that the game moderators will punish you for or anything like that. But within the context of the game, they're not allowed by, whichever law. If your security status gets too low, you're going to get shot by the police, Concord. And that is certainly not a good thing because they are uber and they are elite. Moving down, we again have kill rates. And this has to do with if someone attacks you being able to defend yourself, essentially. If someone shoots you, you're going to have a kill rate against them, which means that you can attack them without the police interfering. That's something you won't be doing too much of. This is your combat log. This has to do with kills and losses that you've sustained or dealt. This allows you to go back and review, some different things that you've had in PvP, that kind of thing. And finally, at the very bottom is the pilot's license. This has two links for you to buy. One for you to buy Plex on the EVE market using in-game money, and one for you to buy them on the website using real-world money. One of the nice things about EVE is that you can actually get game time using in-game money as opposed to real-world money. And conversely, what you can do is you can use real-world money to get the Plex, sell it on the market, and get in-game money. So you can buy ships, equipment, whatever. It's a fairly nice system. Works out pretty well. Get some inflation, some price fluctuations every so often, but overall it's a good solution to real-world trading, I think. And that covers it on this brief overview of the character sheet. Go ahead and rewind the video if you want for a little bit of review of some of these different things. And the things I kind of skimmed over, I'll go back and review as more information becomes relevant to it. For now, though, we're just kind of going through here and covering some of the basics of these different categories. So, in the next video, we're going to cover people and places, and I'll see you then.